Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much today for joining me. This is my second video now. I look a little funny today because I'm cold for some reason. Even though it's 70 degrees in the house, I'm cold and I'm trying very hard not to jack up the heat because, you know, electricity, heat, it's very expensive these days. So, my first case is out of Livonia, Michigan. It took place at the Wonderland Mall. Now, this mall was huge. It had 80 different stores in it. And this happened in December 11th, 1994. Everybody was, in the Christmas mood. The mall was filled with people, so it was very busy. And about 4 p.m., things changed because over the intercom came that there was a missing child. And that was 4-year-old Dewan Sims. He wandered away from his mother, Dewana Harris, and nobody could find him. As the crowd shoppers started to leave, police arrived. They conducted a search of the property. They could not find Dewan anywhere. And this case would be one of the largest, longest missing cases that the state of Michigan has ever seen. Dwayne, he was a typical little boy, very energetic, full of life. Their mother, Dewana, and her boyfriend, it was been said that he loved them both very much. And the three had recently moved into a new apartment on Vaughn Street. And the neighbors had not really gotten to know them quite well, but all of them had said they were a pretty normal family and that they were quiet. So there wasn't any issues that anybody knew of so far. They would often see Dwayne playing outside, and his mother would be outside with him and watching him very closely. So she seemed to be a very protective mother. And she worked at a telemarketing company during the week and enrolled Dewan into Sunnybrook Day Nursery. And that so he could be around other children his age and play. And so that was good. So the weekend had been pretty routine until Dewan went missing. Dewana and one of her cousins spent Saturday afternoon getting their hair done. And Dewana had brought her son to the beauty salon, and he ate his fast food that she got him, and he had some lunch on the way there. His mother chatted with her cousin, and they got their hair done and had plans to go out that night. So Dewan spent the night at the home of a family friend. Dewana woke up around 10 a.m. on Sunday and gathered some of her laundry before she went to pick up Dewan from his friend's house. The little boy had been up for hours playing basketball and telling his mother's friends about the Power Ranger figures he wanted to buy when he went to the mall with his mother that afternoon. So he was really thrilled to see his mom. He rushed and gave her a big hug, put his shoes on, and ran out to the car. So they stopped by the laundromat first, and Dewan watched cartoons while Dewana did 5 loads of laundry. They then loaded up the car with all the clothes, took it back home. And this is when Dewana said she decided she wanted to go to the mall. This is what she told authorities, that it was last minute, even though the family that had Dewan overnight had stated that he was talking about going to the mall. But she said it was a spur-of-the-moment thing. So Dewana's boyfriend was sleeping at the time when they dropped off the clothes. So she didn't want to wake him up and bother him with babysitting. So she took Dewan with her to the mall. And so the drive to the from the apartment to the mall was about a half hour, and Duana told the police that she arrived sometime around 1:45. She and Duan parked and entered the mall through Target. She had initially planned to do some shopping in Target, but said that it was too crowded, so she decided to go into the mall instead. Once inside the mall, she and Duan had paused briefly outside of a toy store. Duan wanted to go into the toy store to look at a Power Ranger, but Duana wouldn't let him. She then walked past a perfume store, some clothing stores, and that's when she realized that Duan was no longer by her side. So she searched around the mall on her own for 2 hours before she decided to alert the mall security. So she did go up to the first person she seen with a radio after looking for him, and assumed they were part of the security team, but this was the cleaning crew. So the cleaning lady used her radio to call security and inform them that there was a missing boy, and this was around 4 p.m. So remember, she said she got there at 1:45. This is now 4 p.m. And the security team responded very quickly. She also mentioned Duana that her mother worked at Lady Foot Locker, and maybe Duan went to go see if his grandmother was there. But when they asked her, she hadn't seen him, and she was absolutely in shock that he was missing. So after searching the entire mall and not being able to locate him, they started searching outside. And they looked in the basement of the mall, everywhere, and just, he was nowhere to be found in there. On Monday, several other agencies joined the search for Duan. Also the Livonia Police Department and members of the FBI. They brought in tracking dogs, but they found nothing relevant to his disappearance. So what detectives did next was they interviewed mall employees, and they pulled all the mall's surveillance footage for Sunday. None of the employees they spoke with recalled seeing Duana in the mall, though a couple remembered seeing Duana late in the afternoon. This is where it gets interesting. So a few detectives were sent to interview Duana Harris, Victor Jackson, and Beverly Harris, while others remained behind to start the tedious process of watching all the surveillance footage. They were hoping that one of the cameras caught Duan, but it didn't. While this was going on, detectives spoke with Duan's biological father and confirmed that he had nothing to do with his son's disappearance. The last time he seen him was in Thanksgiving, and he had a solid alibi, so he was ruled out very quickly. So it took hours for the police to comb through all the surveillance footage gathered. But when they were finally finished, they made a really disturbing discovery. Duan never appeared on camera at all. There was nothing to indicate he had ever been at the Wonderland Mall on Sunday. Duana did appear on the film, but not until 4 p.m., when she entered the mall and immediately approached a cleaning woman to tell her that her son was missing. So, story is not adding up. There's nothing, not a trace of Duan in the mall with her. So, of course, they started to look towards Duan's mother. Now, Duana's family was very upset that the police started looking into her. They said she was a wonderful mother and just cared very much for her son. So her family was very upset. And there was a recent case that was going on at that time, and the family and her mother thought, well, you are just focusing on her because there was a woman that had said that her little boy was lost in the same area and it came to find out she had murdered her son. So they were saying that's why they thought they were targeting her. We're not really able to find any physical evidence that connected her to her son's disappearance. They moved their searches away from the mall, and they started concentrating closer to Duana's home. So they did get some tips in, but nothing really came through with that. 50 investigators were assigned to this case months after Duana's disappeared, and they interviewed hundreds of people without finding any solid evidence. And this would go on for quite a few years. Police continued to publicly doubt Duana's version of what happened to the day Duana went missing. And she eventually grew tired of their veiled threats, and she ended up hiring an attorney. And that normally doesn't always look that great. And she wanted to hold on the hope that her son was still alive and would be returned. Key to solving this case would have been to determine exactly what Duana and Duana had been doing between noon and 3 p.m. because she didn't show up till 4 p.m. at the mall. She stated 1:45, but the cameras caught her coming in at 4 p.m. and going directly to that worker and saying that her son was missing. Actually, the case went cold. And after Duana stopped cooperating with the investigators, and they were not able to find any evidence that there was a possibility that Duana was still alive, but they had no idea where to look for him. The mall itself was torn down in 2003. And over the years, investigators had continued to